So it's the end of the expansion, and you might be looking for things to do. Maybe, after seeing the data for Azeroth calculator, you might be wondering how long this might take, or what the most efficient ways to get some gold by running old instances is. I spent some time timing many of the old raids and calculating which ones were the most efficient ones and which ones you should probably leave out. Let's put the target at 50k gold, which is just about how much a heroic N'Zoth carry goes for. What's the best way to go about this? How much time is it going to take? The answer is going to depend on how many max level tunes you have. If you have 1 tune, you're looking at about 9.5 hours, not counting travel time. If you have 3 tunes, you're looking at about 8 hours 45 minutes, not counting travel time. However, if you have 8 tunes with at least a level 2 garrison, this drops to 8.5 hours with no travel time. So, how exactly did I calculate this? Let's break out the spreadsheets. Why? Because I'm a giant data nerd. Using data for Azeroth's website, I took all the raids and separated them into their zones. Then I ran all of them. Well, almost all of them. We'll get to that. I timed how long it took me to go through each instance, vendored all the trash and loot, and recorded my gold before and after. I then calculated a gold per minute metric. The Eastern Kingdoms are surprisingly worth it for the gold you get. Blackwing Descent will get you about 1k gold for an estimated 13 minutes of work. I went up with more than the estimate for almost every single instance, so my gold per minute is based on what I got rather than the estimate. As you can see, the Eastern Kingdom raids were over 50 GPM, with a combined total of over 2k for 25 minutes of running, minus travel time. Kalmandor was a mixed bag. Out of these, only Fire Lance on Heroic and Dragon Soul Heroic up to Spine were worth the time to run. I recommend not doing anything in Dragon Soul past Spine unless you know how to solo it, or you will lose more gold than you pick up from having to repair. Mist raids were also a mixed bag. Surprisingly enough, almost every single raid, including LFR, was worth it. The exception to this is Siege of Orgrimmar. Siege just takes too long, at over an hour, for each time that I tried it. There's simply too much walking, RP, and backtracking, and not to mention the bugged bosses, to make this raid worth running, which is sad, because across all 4 difficulties, this could get you 10k gold. It would take you about 4 hours. I'm going to skip to Legion really fast. I don't recommend running Legion raids or dungeons at this time. They simply take too long at this point in time to be worth it. Not to mention most of these instances are not fully soloable yet. Maybe in Shadowlands this will be better to run. Anyways, let's take a look at the Warlord Raids. This is where I'm going to recommend you spend your time, provided you have at least 3 max level tunes. It's still going to take you a while, 8 to 9 hours, so this might be a good way to spend a few hours a night or part of your weekend, if you need to get to the 50k gold and you don't want to play the auction house or buy a token. As you can see, every single raid instance and the 3 dungeons we tested were well over the 50 gold per minute metric. This seems to be the sweet spot. All of the instances are very quick to run, and you rarely need to step outside or backtrack in order to get to a vendor to sell, especially if you're like me and you don't have a large amount of bag space. Because the Warlord raids are the most efficient, we can do some fun math here. If you don't want to do any traveling at all and just sit in your garrison, and you have 8 tunes at a level 2 garrison or higher, I recommend just sitting here and doing LFR. The downside is, you're going to hit the 10 instant cap per hour. However, you have a very high risk of doing this anyways, regardless of the strategy you choose. If you are slightly short, I recommend going over to Skyreach and then running it on Mythic difficulty, then Heroic, then chaining it on Normal. Skyreach is ideal for chaining because there is a teleport at the end. Just talk to the bird and he'll teleport you outside the instance, which makes it easy to reset. If you don't have 8 max level tunes, you can do this with 3. You will just have to go to each instance and run it on all 3 difficulties. The 3rd tune only needs to do a full round of High Maul and then a Hellfire Citadel Mythic. If you have only 1 tune, you're going to be looking at a longer journey through Lich King, Kata, Mists, and Warlord Raids and dungeons. You're also going to need to do a Gold Emissary in battle for Azeroth. You will basically have to do every single raid on every single difficulty, but you will be leaving out Siege of Orgrimmar. It's still not worth it. And at the end, if you still need some gold, you're going to need to run some Skyreach. So that's it. Hopefully this helps you be able to spend some of your time more effectively with the old raids. I link both data for Azeroth and my spreadsheet down below so you can take a look at them yourself. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. Good luck and happy farming.